What is up, fine viewers, and welcome to another NovaNights. I am here with Riley and Matt Mort and Kyle Marshall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this will be fun.
Hello. First guests. Welcome.
Thank you.
Howdly doodly.
So
what did you guys have for breakfast? I'm gonna put this down here.
I already shared. I had my usual go-to, which was the yogurt with granola on top, and I had some banana as well.
I had toast with butter, jam, and eggs,
That's the first time I've heard that comment.
and some juice.
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. That is a very original breakfast that I have not once heard before.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had brown sugar oatmeal.
See, that's good. That was like a go-to meal when I was growing up, and some people still don't like eating oatmeal. I'm like not one of those people though. I still go for it sometimes.
Yeah. I usually don't eat anything. I just wake up and leave my house, and it's great because I I leave hungry all the time.
I can't do that. My body has a pretty big sign when I haven't eaten for a while, which is a splitting headache. So I can only go about 2 hours without actually having something, or else my head starts to like pound
On it like forever?
forever.
Is this real life?
Like during the day, like sort of thing. Holy shit.
I'm just saying, this is why I have to snack constantly on different
Yeah.
things, because it's like my head starts to like, oh, I'm hungry,
I
so I have
guess
to go
so.
eat something.
I have noticed that.
Yeah, I work in a restaurant, and I actually like avoid eating, and I just go home and eat everything in the house all in one sitting. And everyone says, "Well, I guess we gotta go back out to Costco."
I'm jealous though of people who can kind of do that. It's like, oh, I skipped breakfast and lunch today. I'm like, I wish. Like honestly, would spend so much less on food if I could skip for that long.
I just get angry at myself. I'm like, why did I do that again? I know what happens every single day, and I keep doing it.
So what do you do on this podcast?
Yeah.
I think we just like mainly just talk about like I said, talk about topics. We talk about like YouTube events or whatever is going around, and yeah, just kind of just
What's the
you'll just
state of
make it up
YouTube
as
right
we
now
go.
for you?
What's that?
What's the state of YouTube for you right now?
State of YouTube.
Idaho.
I noticed that you started to post a lot more on Instagram, like video clips and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been posting that. Actually, that's actually worked a lot better, because I've been just the amount of views and likes that have been put into those tiny clips. They're just, I think they work a lot better than to just upload a video weekly on YouTube. Then I can just go on Instagram and it automatically posts to Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
So it just works better that way.
Do you notice, like, are you leaving a link or anything in your bio or
Yeah.
anything for people to go
Yeah,
to YouTube?
I do a thing it's called Linktree, and I think you may have heard of it. But it's practically like Linktree is like this one particular superior link that has all these mini links going to different social media.
It's like what I've been like looking for the podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you can, for one podcast you can post like or it's one link that people can go to that you can send to everyone, so they can click on to listen to your podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play,
Right.
all sorts of stuff.
Oh,
And like for music too, it works for that as well.
wait, how long have you known about this?
Like 2 weeks or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
You can like streaming music and whatnot. Like you can go through DistroKid to do that as well.
Nice. All right. Linktree.
Yeah, Linktree.
Okay, that is good, because that's the biggest frustration with trying to share a podcast link. I find is like, do I share the one to the website, or do you share the one with iTunes? Do you share the one with Spotify? You're always cutting somebody out of that equation.
Yeah, and you can add as many links as you want to, so it just works in your favor that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Yeah, I've got to work on streamlining my social media. It's all over the place. There's a video of me chasing a deer, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with what I do on YouTube at all. And I like, it's just, I'm so bad with keeping it neat and tidy.
You know, it's hard because it's something that you do have to upkeep over time. Like Matt knows this. I've been doing a lot of work on that very thing. Of like, this is my main message that I want to portray, and then how does every piece of other social media feed into that? And part of that is that I know that Twitter audience is different than Instagram audience is different than YouTube audience. So still keeping different things going on up in there, but how do they keep feeding back and look as of one thing? It's not easy sometimes.
It's like you're working through 3 different personalities because you're trying to cater to those who are interested in the content you're putting out, but they're going to be interested in it for different reasons,
Exactly.
depending on who's coming to see your.
Right. Because Twitter, you want something short, quick. You don't need to upload. Most people are not going to watch a full video if you post it directly to Twitter. Whereas if you do like a GIF or GIF, whichever you prefer.
I had someone who actually would get mad at me for that. He's like, he would tell me it's a GIF, and I just say GIF to upset him purposely.
Or do I just like take a 20-second thing, upload that to Twitter, and have a link to the full video so they can decide what they want to do. So there's all these little strategies.
I find with Twitter, it is a lot better to use the strategy of like a cliffhanger almost, because people do tend to want shorter things, but if you just cut it short of what that mark is that they're generally paying attention to, they're going to want more.
Right.
So like a lot of YouTubers that I watch, they'll actually cut their videos 5 minutes shorter than most other YouTubers, and that actually brings people to more of their content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's a very neat concept that way.
Yeah, it's I want to have Matt talk. I feel like I'm like hogging the conversation here.
It's okay.
But do you know who Tim Schmoyer is by any chance? He's one of those like YouTube gurus who like helps people build their channels and stuff. I'm actually taking his course right now, I'll admit, and I've been really diving a lot into that strategy. But his thing is that for like newer channels, or if you're trying to grow your stuff, one of the worst things you can do is what a lot of YouTubers do, what most YouTubers do, which is you get to the end and you're like, hey, rate, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. But we've now conditioned ourselves so much that as soon as like that screen or that verbiage is started to use, we click away. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I know you're at the end of your video. I'm going to go somewhere else. And his advice, honestly, right now is like, you finish your last statement, your last thought, or you end on a joke or whatever it happens to be, and you immediately just go to watch this video, whatever, and then wrap it up like right there. Instead of belaboring the point and going for another 30 seconds or 20 seconds of like talking, it's just like, go watch this video. And more people are likely to click on that if they've lasted to that point in the video anyways.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does when you actually are told that. What are you doing, Matt?
I'm just listening.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Matt Man.
Yeah. No, it's like segmenting everything is really becoming shorter and shorter. Like that does make sense because it's also something you hear all the time, right? So it also takes away from the originality of your own project as well, because everyone else is doing it. Like I can't even count how many YouTubers I've come across that start their intro with "Hey, it's your boy," and I'm just like, well, okay. But the other guy was my boy.
Or mine is "Hey guys" is what like so many people say. It's like it's like if I hear one more person say it, I'm gonna lose it.
Oh yeah.
There's a YouTube, I can't remember his name, but he would like introduce himself as someone different every video. And it just kept everything fresh, and he was always he did a bunch of variety stuff as well, so it really kept it interesting in that sense, where I say like I need to like streamline my social media, but sometimes for people it works out a lot better doing variety stuff. So they're like, I have no direction, but I think that is my direction kind of deal. And that's something that I think I'm more leaning towards right now, just because I mean, I've got like a YouTube channel that covers anime. Like I keep my YouTube channels separated,
Sure.
but everything is on one social media. Like it's always on like,
Right. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've got my Gaia Seed channel, which is all devoted to anime, and I've got Ascend and Echo, which is sciencey paranormal stuff. But it's all lumped into one thing. So
Yeah, I get that. I mean, again, going to the whole YouTuber thing, a lot of them do that. They have multiple shows, or they have a podcast and a video series and whatever else, but they only have their one social media that they link to all that stuff with.
yeah, one like I recently started one with our other roommate for our music stuff. It's only got like 2 videos on it right now, but we kept that separate and we made a whole new social media for it, just because I feel like it really pulled away from the other. Not that the other 2 things were relative, it was just it really wouldn't make much sense. Not that I don't have music stuff on my Instagram and Twitter as it is, but I just felt like there needed to be a divide at some point, and that's what we kind of went with.
Yeah. Like you felt like it didn't align with the why of your
Yeah,
channel,
well,
sort
I
of.
mean, and none of it really aligns with the why in my social media. It's like they come in chunks. If you were to look at my Instagram, it's like here's a chunk of time where I was covering mostly anime material. Here's a chunk of time where I was like promoting new paranormal videos. Here's a chunk of time where was doing nothing, so I took pictures of my dog. So I'm at least trying to streamline it in that sense where my interests are kind of in blocks. So I just want to keep it that way at least. So
I feel like for me, like when I follow someone on social media, it's usually because I'm just interested in that person.
yeah,
So if you're into like dogs and paranormal and like anime and all that stuff, then I know to expect that from your feed anyways.
yeah,
But if it's like for a YouTube channel or something specific that's like not just your personality, then maybe like you could have like Smosh that has like the Smosh Twitter, but they also have an Ian Twitter and an Anthony Twitter, and like
right.
everyone has their own Twitter, but then they also have one for the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, well, and like Kyle was saying, they're like different audiences are attracted in different social media. So
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. It's just a matter of seeing the person for the person through, say, Instagram, whereas Twitter is more of like a news based, like what's happening here,
right.
right?
Right, sorry.
So
Yeah, you're talking about Instagram or Twitter?
yeah,
Oh, okay. never
yeah,
mind. But yeah, even then though, I feel like it's like the same thing almost.
And I think it's also easier, and this took me a while to really figure this out, is delving into who you want your audience to be or who you think your audience is. Right? Because it's like, whatever, it's like, I know that my audience is going to be 20 somethings who are at this point in their life who enjoy this type of video content. Then it's really easy, I find, to be like, oh, they'll like this, so I can link to this on Twitter, or I can make this type of post on Instagram, or I can do this type of thing somewhere else. If you have no idea or don't have it refined to that point, then it's really hard to figure out. It's like just throwing stuff. I'm like, maybe this will work.
yeah. I think that's where a lot of like trying to get off the ground aspects kind of falter. I've done that a lot in the past myself, where I don't know what I'm going for. I'm still in that boat, kind of. It's just like what's going to be the interest today, and yeah, like I've seen a lot of other YouTubers do that as well. Like a lot of people stick to gaming on YouTube, I find, because it's a good way to start YouTube, because actually like editing video game footage and like webcam footage, there isn't a lot you have to do to like accommodate for any like mess ups or anything like that, because it's all mostly stationary, so you're not really having to deal with too much. Um, but there's a lot of people gaming out there, so if you want to make a name for yourself through that outlet, you have to really find the originality within it. And when it gets to be saturated like that, it is really difficult to do.
Yeah, and that's where, like, this is such a cliche thing I'm about to say, so I apologize, but it
Oh
is
no.
but it is true, which is that there is one thing that will always be original, which is literally you.
Yeah.
So you have to use that to your best ability. Yes, content is still needs to be good for people to come there, but if it's like oversaturated, everyone is playing the Fortnite.
The Fortnite.
I can still jump into that if like I'm super passionate about it, but I
Yeah.
have to bring me into that plane of that game.
Yeah. And I think it honestly, it's weird. It's like you have to practice being yourself.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Because there's a level of confidence you need to acquire before, I find anyway, like if you're doing, say, gaming, like something that is oversaturated, you got to find a certain confidence within that first. Like, okay, I know I can be me, but how do I express that now?
Yeah. It's this is gonna be a really weird analogy, but I like to use it a lot of time. Um, I always use the analogy of professional wrestling when it comes to this. As a somewhat semi-closeted wrestling fan, um, I've watched it for many, many years, and from my perspective, the most popular wrestlers are always the ones who it's their personality, but like dialed up to 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Like those are the people that like have the crowd response. who are able to improvise really well and speak well because it's literally just them, but they've dialed it up. And YouTube is exactly the same way. Like the people who do the best is like it's them, but dialed up really, really, really high.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious when you go into like YouTube conventions and you see these people and they're like introverted and shy and they don't really speak
Yeah.
to people and they're like super nice. It's like, oh, like you're so like all over the place or like in people's faces in your channel, but that's because it's like it's me, but I'm still performing
Yeah.
a bit.
Well, that's what interests me about YouTubers too. Is because you know that they are putting out the best of them, but you know that they're still putting on a character to some degree. And that's why, like, I honestly like when conventions happen, I like going to find like other YouTubers that have gone to these conventions and seeing them meet popular YouTubers.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, hey, that's like, I knew that they weren't like that all the time.
Sure.
Right. Like, we got to meet Tobuscus last
Right.
Comic-Con, and like there was no one at his table. He's just sitting there. And we just walked up to him and said, hey, how's it going? And we just had like a casual conversation with Tobuscus. And he's just a really chill dude.
Yeah. Which is wild to me because I remember being at VidCon one year, and I'm not even joking, when like 200 people were following him around.
Serious?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy.
it was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you just think of like the songs he's written in the past. It's just all sounds. And you're like, he just sits alone in a booth, like singing about mashed potatoes, and you're like, what's going on in his brain? But yeah, it's all about finding the originality and being able to portray it. So yeah, again, it's easy to be yourself, but to like voice it
Yeah.
out into a camera and it's people like vloggers too. I've got a lot of respect for people who just walk around with like cameras out in the streets.
Yeah.
People are just like, what?
How about you, Matt? How do you find originality?
Just whatever. Yeah, just whatever interests me. Pretty much, that's it. I'm just like really into surprises and like surprising people or getting reactions out of people or um, uh, testing or challenging my own mind or body or whatever, or just something that excites me, like the weird like situation that came about or opportunity that came about with my dad. Like, you know, posting a comment to my YouTube section or my YouTube comments and basically like starting to arrange a date with a girl with me, like set me up on a date sort of thing, that whole thing. Like that just seemed like an opportunity that came up and it seemed like it would be a good video. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd make that. For the other videos that I've made besides that, because I feel like I bring that one up too much, I wanted to like kind of cater towards like challenges and try to like do something that I've never done before, like rip a phone book in half or something, or like snap an apple in half or something like that. And just like how could I make this interesting? Although there's not a lot to it, so then I threw it in with like two other challenges that I did, which was like the egg with one hand and stuff like that.
I think that's part of the fun of making videos, though, which is this is my original idea. Then I go and film it, and sometimes like, oh, that changed. Like that was not exactly what I thought was going to happen. So now I have to change that slightly. But then I don't know. There's some fun in that. Like I recently am doing more. I don't know how you term it, documentaries type stuff, where I'm going out and filming in the real world and stuff like that, which has its own challenges because it's like I both want to be like engaging with what's in front of me, but now I have a camera, so it's like how do you keep that all sane and stuff like that too. But like my idea for this video that I'm currently working on was different than what it actually turned out to be, I think. So it's gonna be fun.
Do you want to talk about what you thought? Because I'm curious as to what you thought it was going to be and what it's turning into be.
So yeah, I think mostly Matt wants to talk about this because it's a video about him. Which is hilarious because if you look at the whiteboard I'm looking at, I called it Matt's birthday video. It's not his birthday. I don't know what was in my mind. It's his going away party is what we went to on Friday. But for some reason, my mind thought birthday when I was writing up some notes. And I think originally what I thought was going to be, weirdly enough, was a lot more sad than what it turned out to be. I thought it was going to be like, oh, people are going to be like bummed that he's moving away. And I want to see like how he's dealing with making a music video at the same time as his going away party. And then what it turned out to be that night was a lot more like celebratory. And people were happy and like were excited. It's like, yes, sad that he's moving away, but more like, we can't wait to see what happens, and this was such a good night, and like
Like
that
finally he's gone, sort of
finally
thing.
he's
Yeah.
gone. The real party's going to be next week when he's actually not here.
Sent out invites. Hope you guys got them.
That's right. So it changed because like my little point form notes that I made was like all thinking of like the sentimentality and stuff, and it's going to slightly change over to be like this more positive message about following your dreams and stuff like that. So I'm going to have some talking heads interspersed with the actual footage that I shot.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I had a video that I sort of thought about initially. Like it went kind of odd. Like when I first thought of this video, it was like probably the best thing ever. But when I started filming it, it was like, I kind of want to change a few things. Like it didn't sound as good as in my mind as it did on camera. So I had to rewrite it. Ryan knows about this one. It's called The Summer Secret.
Oh.
And
yeah.
so this is a video I did by myself in it's a precursor to the finale of our series Holiday Council. And practically I had to throw all this material in before the finale. So it kind of is like a chain of events sort of thing. And the first time I wrote it and then had like performed it and stuff, I'm like, it's not really funny enough. Like it just seems too whatever the word is. But it's a too drama, I guess. It's
Dramatic.
Dramatic. Thank you. My mind went blank there for a
Dramatique, I
second.
believe you said.
Yeah, that's the one. No, yeah, but when I literally just looked at the script and went, okay, this is not what I expected, so I'm going to rewrite it completely and see where it goes. But this time I'm gonna like do it blankly. So I just started like thinking of ideas in my head and just kind of typing it out as I went, and it performed a lot better than the first version, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
just kind of,
You know, there's a person who I'm quite fond of. His name is Ira Glass. So he hosts this podcast and radio show called This American Life for like the last 15, 16 years. I love watching him speak because he's like so passionate about like audio. Because he's worked in it for decades. But he often says about that with just artists in general and people who start to create things, which is that this little secret that no one really tells you is that for the first couple years you start to create things, it's all going to be awful. It just is.
When are those gonna end? It's been like 7 years.
But the thing that hasn't changed is that you have good taste. The reason why you got into it in the first place is that your taste is good and the stuff that you like is really good. And because you're balancing like, this is what I can do versus what my idealized version is, and there's such a huge gap when you first start out, and that slowly closes and closes and closes as you go on. At least if you keep pushing yourself and like trying different things and don't get into a rut too much. To the point where it's like you finally close that gap and you can start to be like, oh yeah, like this is the really good stuff. But you have to kind of go through all this bad stuff first, which I see a lot on like Reddit and YouTube and other places I go to. It's like, I just want to start to create things. Like, we'll do it, because honestly, get all the bad stuff out now so you can start to focus on that good stuff later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
good
and
advice.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Actually, this is a pretty special moment
I like
because
that.
Matt just paid me a compliment. That doesn't happen very often.
That's good.
It's on record.
Yeah,
You got that.
It is recorded, so
That's all yours. We'll frame it for you.
that's right. This audio clip is for just the waveforms.
Yeah, no, and that's a very good point, because you can then take that threshold that you've made and depleted, and you can carry that upwards as well. Like personally, I'm not a believer in an end game, because that means that's a roof, that's a ceiling. I'd like to think that like you get to a point that you've always wanted to get to after however long you've wanted, or however long it took to get there, and you ask yourself, what's next? And I find that people evolve a lot better that way, as opposed to seeing a goal, an end goal, and just gunning for that their entire life, where it's like, don't ever look at that, because you should never have to look up, you should have to look forward.
Yeah, this is something that it
Like-
took me a long time in this. I still do and have worked for Apple for many, many years. And one of the things I learned a few years into that job, there was a thing that they use a lot of time about, like, let's say I want to work into being like someone who repairs phones, or I want to get into this role. And it's kind of a bad idea, like you said, to have that as your end goal. It's like, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be a successful YouTuber is my end goal, because that can go away tomorrow. Like, that specific job title could go away tomorrow. But if you slightly shift that mindset to be like, I want to be able to shoot videos well. I want to know how to color grade properly. I want to know how to record audio. I want to know how all these compressors work and learn those skills. Then when jobs change or industries change, you have all of this stuff and knowledge that you can take and apply it to whatever that new job title is. So going after a job title is not a great way to focus yourself, because that could change tomorrow.
Well, you can't cap creativity, I guess, is my point. So that's ultimately where you have to build yourself and continue yourself, because the way a job works, even in the entertainment industry, like on YouTube, it's very much a staircase, right? Where it's like there's always going to be goals you want to achieve, and yeah, obviously you want to reach goals, but staircases have a top too. So if you use your creativity as that infinite, like, incline upwards, then it doesn't matter what's happening in the job, because you can use that creativity elsewhere. You're still going to be bettering yourself in that sense. You just have to apply it somewhere else sometimes. But you're still, if this goes away tomorrow, you're already at the top of that. You can just go up more in this new thing, and then that's the way you got to look at it. It's like a sphere.
Yeah, like if YouTube went away tomorrow, you still have all these skills that you can apply and go elsewhere for. That's why I really like Matt is going to Vancouver here when we record this next week. And I love the idea behind this YouTube channel that you're going to be going and co-creating, because it's not about like a specific thing you're going after. It's more like a cultural thing you're going after, which I think is a lot more applicable.
I was gonna say that it's like, with what you're saying, is like basically follow a why more than a job title sort of thing. If you have like for me, I've been wanting to be like a YouTuber, like have that be my full-time career since like junior high. But I realized that like I've had various like thoughts of like, okay, what if I don't do this? Like, what if I don't actually do YouTube? Like, I've never considered that until like 2015. And so I like actually considered it and thought about like, what do I want to do with my life besides that? And it's been like a long process, and I think I like finally found it like in the past month, or like
Sure.
few months,
Yeah, yeah.
or like maybe a year, of like finding my why. And so it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter if I'm making YouTube videos or, creating content or whatever. As long as I'm like helping people fulfill their why in a way, or like crossing things off their bucket list, or getting out of their comfort zone, or getting out of a rut of like they're doing the same thing for years and ever, and like they're like it's tough for them to get out of like the same thing.
That's
And
what jazzes
so,
me up a whole lot too, because I mean,
new catchphrase.
my new catchphrase. I say that all the time. I should just say,
Sure.
but sure. But it's
Insert
just
smooth jazz.
smooth jazz. But this whole idea of I've lost my train of thought.
Finding your why and like
Oh yes, thank you. Which is that finding the why, which I've only really done in the last 5 weeks. I've really delved into that, and I still don't really know what my personal individual why is. I know what Media Lab's why is. I know what my YouTube channel's why is, but I don't know if I really know what like Kyle's why is yet. So I'd like to delve a little bit more personally into that when I find the time.
Yeah.
But you're right, because when you figure that out, it like makes things so easy to figure out, because it's like, oh, does this fit this? No, then I'm not going to make a video about it.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's the curiosity within human nature, I think, that people need to let drive them a little more than just something that they're aiming for as a goal, like I said. I feel like that's what you have to do to kind of find your why, is just follow your curiosity and see where that goes. And it leads you to other people who are asking the same questions too.
100%.
And that'll teach you a lot. You'll learn a lot of stuff doing what you're going to do, right? And that's like the ultimate thing, is the knowledge and experience, right? Nothing is bigger than that. Like knowledge and experience are the biggest things you can have in this world, and that's
I mean, that's been something that I've noticed for a long, long time. And I think partly why I loved YouTube when it first came out in 2005 and why I became so obsessed with it was I really enjoy seeing people passionate about stuff. It's also why I don't really get into the whole like negativity aspect of online a lot. I like to run away from that. It's like, no, I want to see people like getting like super excited about what they're doing. Whether it's like, I love potatoes, I don't care. But if you love potatoes,
starch.
I know it's like starch is the best, right? But if you do that and you're like super into it, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I think who was it? Someone I follow online, anyways. They linked to this YouTube channel of this guy who legitimately his passion in life is train whistles, like just the sound of the trains that they make. And the video that they like he loses his mind because this train goes by. And he's like, "That's a 1925 like Derringer like whistle." I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying, but man, I'm invested in this video now because you are losing your mind over this train whistle.
You're like, I want to be there to
Yeah,
see
like,
is this happening?
tell me about this train whistle that I have no idea about, right?
Or the guy who he's like his YouTube channel is telling the weather.
Sure.
Yeah. He's just so into it. Like
He's Canadian, I think.
he is. I think he's from Newfoundland. Isn't
Okay.
He? Yeah. I think
There's
so.
there's another Canadian channel. Oh, Canadian Ants or Canadian Ant Farm or something like that. It's literally just
The
an
guy's
ant
got
farm.
ant colonies. Like,
But like millions of subscribers now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like into ants. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Like, I don't really care what it is, but I find so much more value and I get so much more energy from people who are like super into something and can tell me why they're into it than it is just like any other thing.
For sure. Like I'll have like moods where I'll want to watch certain content, but I am definitely going to be more drawn towards the people who are like, hey, this is the best thing. Like people who are like hornet exterminators that just get super stoked about their job.
Yeah.
And the whole video is just hornets stinging the camera. Like the audio is horrible, but man, does he love his job.
Oh, I think it was actually Matt who maybe linked me this video once. It was this guy who is like a stonemason, like he lays down tiles and stuff like that. But he had this whole like top of a barricade or fence, and they were all gonna be flat stones, but he had them all kind of like dominoes. And he like hit it with a trowel and everything's like fell into place. It was so satisfying.
Yeah.
To see everything like hit into place and like be set down. Like, oh wow, that's really cool.
And that's the stuff you wonder too, where you're like, what went through his head when that happened? Like, he's like, this isn't gonna work.
It's like the last one that doesn't fall over or something.
Yeah, well, it's like, how many takes did that take?
Yeah.
Or does he just do that on the daily? Like, he just wakes up and does that every day. Like,
It's like I found a video of dominoes, like this computer generated dominoes thing, but it's synced to Prince music.
Sure.
So it's like every album throughout like his whole entire like career, it's like going, but it's like not like every song by song, but it's like snippet by snippet. And like the colors change, and it was like, it's so fascinating to watch, just like all of them just fall. So it's
that's
really
like
good.
like
It's
animating too. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things on YouTube that have varying degrees of time that it'll take to create. Like, I have huge respect for animators. It's probably why one of my channels covers animated Japanese TV series. But the amount of time that goes into things, because you brought up the computer generated music
Dominoes, yeah.
dominoes, but there's a guy who actually like created a machine that's got like a crank and a series of levers, and it just and it drops marbles onto strings and drums, and I'm like, what? And it's a whole like 4-minute song. And he had to strategically plan the distance between each instrument. Like, okay, this is how far like the ball will fall. This is how fast it gains velocity. Like, and like things like that, where it's like these guys post videos every day. It's like, how do you like schedule all this? Like, how do you build this machine, keep up with content that's equally as like epic every single day? And it's baffling to me how people can do that, right? And but it's because they're passionate about it. It's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna sit here and build a giant wood brain that makes you a 4-minute song. Like, like that's things like that are are really inspiring to me, because it's just like, well, if that guy can make songs out of marbles and wood, like, I guess I can sit down and practice guitar. You know? But yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like, you definitely want to see the passion within that originality for sure.
So what's your to go plan for when you like write a video and stuff? Like what's your step by step
Well, I mean,
process?
for me personally, that's changed a whole lot. I used to be almost 100% completely scripted. Even things that didn't look like they were scripted in the videos, and that has slightly changed. I kind of go more point form. What I've been trying to do, even with like this documentary footage, I still plan out like what my beginning, middle, and end that I want to be, and then hope that I can actually capture those moments. Unless something completely drastic happens, and I'll have to change on the fly. But still, I want to know like what's the purpose of the video, like what's the end goal, what is the thing that I want people to learn, quote unquote, or who I'm following, what is their learn sort of thing, so that I know that I have to hit certain shots within the time frame, and then I can always jump in and add context and stuff like that with me speaking to the camera or whatever it happens to be. So I do more point form now. So it's like this is the stuff I need to hit, and then I'll figure it out as I go and do a double take if I need to, or a second take if I need to, if it doesn't work out. How about you, Matt?
I haven't posted a YouTube video in 7 months. So,
What did you used to do?
well, okay, I used to just come up with the idea and think of like a structure in a way. Like I bring this up every time I talk about my videos, but the dad date video thing, um, I with that one, it's kind of a slow process because that whole like thing happened. So I made like a tweet about it, and then it got like a few tens of likes, and
Tens of likes.
yeah, it was like almost 11.
10 likes.
Yeah. Um, that happened, and then slowly I talked to friends about the weird situation that happened, and they said like it would make a good video. So I thought about like what would I do to make it a good video, and then like I had two friends who like offered to give me $200 each to make the video, so that helped with like buying a limo and paying for dinner and stuff like that. Um, so I thought about like what would make a fancy dinner, what would make it interesting, um, and I kind of like take inspiration from like Casey Neistat or David Dobrik or um, I think maybe like, I don't know, like PewDiePie sometimes. But there's different creators that I have in mind that like kind of influence my style. That I think that video was a lot motivated or inspired by David Dobrik and like his surprises that he does. So I try to think of it in that way for like filming wise, um, and like leading up to different things and leading up to like surprises or um, funny disappointing moments or something like that. But
That's interesting because
yeah.
I'm not that I'm not influenced by other people, but like having been like a huge film fan for so long and having like a bunch of YouTubers that I hold in very high regard, I never intentionally, at least, try and do what they're doing because I don't think I can do it as well as they can. So I'd rather try and do something that I think I can do in my own style. But I don't know. I guess it would have to be someone else would have to tell me if I'm intentionally trying to do something.
In my way though, it's
Right.
I'm
Okay.
still like I'm doing my own thing, like it's my own idea, and it's my own idea. I'm not like thinking what would make a good David Dobrik video.
No,
I'm
but
like,
yeah, okay, I gotcha.
yeah, so I'm making my own thing, but I'm taking inspiration of like with a film or something. It's like I'm making my own movie about this topic, but I'm gonna throw in like some Edgar Wright montages or something like
Right.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like putting yourself within the mindset of somebody else to understand like how they think of something. I guess it's like
What would Charlie Manson do in this?
Okay.
like in my case, it's strange, and it's hard to make content with the area that I'm working in, solely because of the fact there's a lot of copyright issue where it's like you can't really use a lot of visuals, and it's really hard to talk for 15 minutes straight about something you don't know what you're going into. Um, and a lot of things that the popular anime YouTubers have is they have Twitter on their side. So they're like they can make a whole video about like, "Hey guys, I asked you questions about this." And so they can base a whole video every week off of what people tweeted them. So people starting out in that field in YouTube, it's a lot harder for them to get started. It's a lot less saturated than say gaming, but at the same time to get a start in that, it's like you have to be really original with the things you're doing because you can't rely on a fan base because you don't have one.
Could you find a fan base that's not your fan base, that like someone that's already like a blog site or a Reddit
Yeah.
like thing or something, and you could do like what they're doing with the Twitter, like I asked you this, but you could like look out for like, I guess like commentary channels do this a lot too, but like find a certain like subreddit or something and comment on that,
Yeah.
something like that maybe.
Well, like I follow a bunch of pages on Facebook, and I was honestly thinking just because like my content well is kind of running dry. I'm like I don't really know what to do except like review things. I'm like I don't really want to do that. Like I don't want to be just that because a lot of people do that. Like
What-
I don't want to do top tens. I don't want to do this
Yeah,
and that.
what do you want to do?
I was thinking honestly, I was just going to invade a bunch of discords and just be like, "Hey guys, so I have a question." You know, like I just want to like invade all like because they always post links to their discords. They're like, "Come check out Discord. Come talk about anime, this and that." And like, maybe I should just do that. Like, go in, record a chat, just like have like a quick like podcast style thing where it's just like, "Hey guys, so what do you think about this? Like, who's better?" And then just tell them that their waifu is trash and then leave. But I feel like that would be a better way to kind of like dig my heels in and actually do something else besides just doing the same video with a different topic, right? And that's again just coming back to originality, where it's like, how can I take this where it's like you have a very two-dimensional platform to start out on, and how do you like arc that?
The biggest thing that I've been learning about, that's something I never really tried to focus on, um, how often do you go into analytics on your YouTube videos? Like how often?
Oh,
do
how
you-
often do I? Oh, not very often.
Right. So the biggest thing, at least right now, this could always change, of course, with different algorithms and stuff, but YouTube values more than anything else, like how long people are watching your videos for. So focusing on that first. So if you notice like it's this huge dip like midway through, it's like what happened at that point?
Yeah.
All right, so next video, great. We're not going to mention this, or we'll shorten it up, or we'll edit it a little bit better. Okay. And I wouldn't probably do it like video by video. I'd probably look at it like month by month and go into there. But if you start to see those trends, you can start to like tighten those little things up, and get better and better. The goal is to have at least 50% or more of the people who started watching the video at the end of your video. So you can actually say, go watch this, so that they can actually go and watch more of your videos.
Yeah. And I think like I also don't really have a formula to like, I know that there's no rule on how long your video needs to be, but it's like I believe like if you're starting a series, people come to expect a certain thing. So if it's super short, it's gonna be disappointing, and if it's super long, it's not gonna retain their attention for the whole time, right? Unless they've avidly followed you for a while.
Yeah, if you have rabid fans, you could literally make a 2-hour video and they're going to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that is a good point. Like that is something that I've looked into it before, and I do know that audience retention was a big thing that YouTubers had to look for, and I just never really.
I never
Did
either
that.
did. And I've been delving a lot more into it because those numbers just don't lie. Like you can literally see when people start to click away. So it's like, okay, great. They're giving me a lot of data here. So what can I do to keep their attention going, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like the nicest creative criticism you've ever received.
Right. Because it's this thing. It's like if I go and ask most people, like friends, family, it's like, "Do you like this video?" It's like, "Yeah, it was great." But they're not going to really like get into it with you. It's like, actually, I stopped watching after 2 minutes because I got the gist of it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's like you don't want to be repetitive with your content either. That's the thing that is really hard for me right now. It's just
No,
like,
fair enough.
what
But I
am I
like that. I
supposed to
like
do?
your idea of like I still want to talk about anime, but do it in a completely different way than what other people are doing. That's a cool space to get into. It's like I can still do what I love, but I'm doing it from like a sideways way.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see like if there's any like thing to do with news about anime or like some certain like topic or specific thing that you're asking, it would be interesting to like see you go into like different discords, like a bunch of different ones, and get like various people's opinions and stuff. That would
Yeah,
be
well,
kind of interesting.
there's also forums for like seasonal shows, right? So it's like I can go into forums and talk about the shows that are like popular right now, and be like, and make like a joke thing about it, or go in and actually like legitimately ask what people thought of certain events, right? I've also got to be careful. Like another thing is like you got to be careful to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
So you're really working with like sticks.
You could always just have like some videos be spoiler friendly and some have like spoiler alerts or something. So
I also
we're gonna spoil Game of Thrones right now. Okay, so let's go.
everybody, we've deleted the X off your computer. We've glued your headphones to your ears. You didn't notice because we were talking.
Guess
And
what?
we've-
Everyone dies.
And we've secretly
Everyone.
hypnotized you to the screen. And so
Yeah.
Thanos is dead the whole time.
Thanos was- Okay, can I just say that there's a part of me, would love it if the very final episode of Game of Thrones is where Thanos comes down, snaps his fingers, and everyone dies. Like, all right, bold strategy right there.
Marvel to George R.R. Martin. That's
right. Guess what? Disney just bought HBO. This was
Yeah.
like the secret we've been keeping all along.
Ambitious crossover. Yeah, no doubt.
gender reveal.
But yeah, like I was like I'm just trying to figure out like how to add body to my content, really. Like I was on Instagram the other day, and like what a lot of anime tubers will do as well is unboxings. So they'll get their ad revenue, and they're like sponsored by
Loot Crate.
like Loot Crate, Aki Bento, and Aki Bento actually like they never like messaged me directly, but they commented on one of my pictures and said, "Hey, DM us." And then I was like, "Okay, well this is kind of, I don't know, like it's probably like just a scam." And I come back the next day, they've liked all of my posts. I'm just like, what? So I also just get to the point where it's like, do I just take the risk and like ask what's up, or like,
Yeah, do it.
I don't
Totally
think it's
do
risky
it,
at
for
all.
sure.
no, it's not. But like for me, it's I get very anxious about things like that because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like,
But yeah,
so what's going on?
that's like anything though. Like you got to just jump into it. Like if you like, I didn't know anything about podcasts. I'm still getting used to podcasts and like figuring out like
so were we.
yeah,
Yeah.
like is this just a regular conversation? Do I have to perform for the audience that's listening? Am I doing? I like
What do I do with my hands?
Yeah, you know, like I
I just keep them at like a 45-degree angle the
Yeah.
entire
just
time.
T-pose. We've actually been T-posing for the past 30-40 minutes. I don't know how long.
I just like I'm starting like just getting used to driving like this month I've like drove twice and I've already like I gotten used to it. I drove in the past like year or something, but I hated it because it was terrifying. But yeah, I think like just jump into it. Just like try your first one, dip your toe, see if it's for you. And like as you go, you'll get more comfortable, more used to it, and then you'll have more of an understanding. I think like the best way to figure something out besides like I think it's better than like Googling and like reading all these like things about it. It's better just to like jump in and figure out as you go.
Not to dictate your podcast, but we're gonna have to start to wrap up here pretty soon. But I wanted to just mention that the cool thing that I think is the difference between like say like podcasting versus YouTube, and I've been into podcasts for so long, is the fact that YouTube is that like you have to keep moving and keep changing things and keep the audience's attention. Not that you don't have to keep the attention on podcasts, but I find that it's much more forgiving for like silence and like going slower and stuff like that. Like my favorite podcasts, I have no problem if they release like longer episodes sometimes, because if it's something I'm interested in, it's like talk for 4 hours, honestly, because I'm into this. I mentioned Game of Thrones already, but I listened to a podcast that like goes over every new episode that gets released the day after. And this last one, they talked for an hour and 45 minutes about one episode. And I was like, keep going. Like, honestly, like, you're talking about interesting things, and you're right, and these theories that they have, and it's like, oh, it reminding me of things that it tied back to like 4 seasons ago that I'd forgotten. And like, oh yeah, that's right, that they had said that phrase. So like, that's cool. And I like with Avengers Endgame coming out tomorrow, my favorite movie podcast, like it better be 2 hours long, because if it's less than that, I'm gonna be so disappointed. I want them to get into it, right? So yeah, it has to be as long as Avengers Endgame. That episode. Yeah.
Exactly. So before we go, what exactly is your? I guess you could answer me one of the two questions. What is your most successful video, or what's your favorite video?
That I've made.
Yeah.
Well, my most successful video I've ever made was on my personal channel, which I've put on pause currently as I try and start to grow the Media Lab YouTube channel. But my most popular video is about a movie called Call Me By Your Name. And it's actually what sort of convinced me to change my channel right before I put pause on it, which was read the book and then review the movie version of that book. Because I had seen this movie and I really liked it. So I was like, I'm going to just talk about this movie. And like, within a week I had like 3,000 views, and that grew up to like 5, and then it went to 15, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? Like, I've never had that much engagement. People were commenting and commenting on other people's comments and like liking things and like finding my like Twitter and talking to me there. And it's like, whoa, okay, so something has hit a nerve. So then I made a second video literally comparing the book and the movie, and same thing, boom, like this hit huge. And it's not a big movie, it's like a small independent, like 10 people saw it in theaters, and yet
It has like a huge fandom though.
but the fandom is like rabid. Like, they love it. There is a subreddit that is still super popular about a movie that came out 2 years ago. And it's bonkers to me, but yeah, those are my most popular videos. As far as my favorite ones go, like those are good. Like I enjoyed those ones. Um, I still have to say, I was messing around for a while. I was trying to make short documentaries like once a month. Yes, I made one about Matt who's sitting beside me, but I made 3, and I actually really liked how those 3 turned out. Are they the best short documentaries? No, but I learned a lot. It was really interesting. It was a different skill set that I was developing. So those are my favorite, just on a personal level, because I put a lot of work into those, and a lot of planning, and a lot of filming, and then editing took a while and stuff like that. So those are the ones that stand out for me.
Yeah.
Nice. Matt.
I again keep mentioning it, but the dad date video.
I'm so sorry. I've not heard about this video. Tell me more
Yeah.
about
It's
this
the
video.
first
My
time
dad set me
here.
up on a date using my YouTube comments. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. And my VidCon video. Although like I do enjoy my videos, and I usually enjoy watching them back. I feel like I'm getting kind of tired of them, so I'm glad that I'm starting a new channel.
Sure.
Because then I'm gonna make more videos that I can enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of like this is sidetracking, but my favorite part of like editing is getting to like watch back. I feel like I'm like cheating, like I know I'm like wasting time by watching YouTube videos, but I feel like by editing, I get to like watch a snippet of a YouTube video when it's my own video. That sounds weird, but that's like yeah, okay. But yeah, I enjoyed my VidCon video and my date video. Um, but I did really I liked my dyeing my hair pink video. Was fun to like. That was my first time I think using After Effects in a video. It was for like motion blur, so I didn't even have to use it. Now that I know, I could use just Premiere, but that was like fun. I felt like I actually like had more of a structure to it. In terms of most popular, I think that is the most popular. That's like recent. My most viewed videos like me going to Starbucks for the first time in like 2010. That's like old, so that's doesn't really count, I guess. But
Very nice.
yeah,
Rye.
Oh, gee. Oh, what's my most popular and most liked video?
Slash fave.
Holy Lord. um, I think it's the high school DxD one, honestly. I did a collaboration video with Steve on an anime, and I used to do this series called 10 Things You Really Didn't Know About. I know I said that I don't do lists. I actually made this series to like make fun of lists, and I like just like random facts that weren't even facts in the slightest. And I had to stop doing it because people were actually thinking they were real facts, even though I said it. I'm like, how can you guys believe this right now? Like the very first episode I did was about an anime called Kill la Kill, and I said at the beginning, I'm like, here's like real facts. I'm gonna tell you real things about anime that you haven't heard of, because like all the other top 10 videos that do that, it's all things that are blatantly obvious in the show. It's like people knew this, that it's not unknown.
SpongeBob is square.
Yeah, well, exactly, stuff like that. So like I just do facts that didn't mean anything. I think that series is probably my favorite to make, but I had to stop doing it because people thought that they were real facts. And yeah, one of the videos in that series was my most viewed as well. But yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, mine was I know I go with the most recent video, but I'm gonna say Emotional Change 3, because that I like how I overlaid it and looked it over so many times, and just added new things as I went along, and just kind of yeah, just how it came out. I was actually very proud of. But there was one, actually, the mashup series are really, like, all the mashup videos are pretty popular, I guess. Those would be like some of the most popular Green Heat videos, I think. And it's weird how they just grow and popular. And you guys were in mashup 9, so that was
It's probably the
yeah,
best one.
it is the best one up to date.
I don't know why, just for reasons.
But yeah, like each one, it just got the same amount of views, and it's kind of weird, but yeah, no, it's really cool.
Can I don't know why this popped into my head, but because I think part of what Riley was saying about like facts and stuff like that, a YouTube channel I've always wanted to make, I just have never had time because I would need a research team a little bit on it, is I would love to make a YouTube channel called Quick Answers to Complex Questions. So it'd be like, I don't know, not like, I'm trying to think. It's like what's the 20th digit of pi or something like that, right? So you click on the video. It's like 4. If you want to know more, go here. Right?
Outro is longer.
Like literally, it's like
Yeah.
it's a 3-second video,
Yeah.
and then it pushes you towards like an unlisted, like fuller, like huge explanation of what what that is. So it would be great because
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's interesting.
so I think it would be a cool idea. Plus, it would be really good for YouTube because you get near like 100% watch time on that one video, and it's pushing to another video for them to watch, which a lot of people will probably click on. And that's great for YouTube, again for you, because that starts to pop your video if people keep watching other videos.
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
That is
it's
interesting.
that's partly why 5-second films is still so popular, because people start to watch 20 videos in a row.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought they kind of went down.
I mean, I still say they're probably because they still have millions of subscribers and
Oh, yeah.
still get hundreds of thousands of views for each
Yeah,
one
I
they
guess. Okay.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you can steal that if you want, but you probably won't. So
No, I wouldn't actually. No, I'm too respectful of the creator
Right.
to do that. But I know we didn't get around to talking about the music scene, but that's fine.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
we were having fun. That's all good. That's what matters.
So the whole purpose of this podcast we didn't do.
Well, yeah, but hey, at least we talked about something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
And,
shout
you
out
know,
though, just for local
Yes.
music here in Calgary. Again,
Yeah.
this is my own personal because I like I don't know, melodic and singer-songwriter type stuff. Matt is wearing a Thomas shirt, who I'm a huge fan of,
Oh, okay.
and Handmade is great.
Yep. Handmade for You. Look it up.
Look it up, yeah. And
Sorry, Handmade Music for You.
Let that find viewers.
that's right. And there's one that I'm totally blanking
The
on.
Ashley 100.
Thank you.
Wendigo.
Ashley 100. Wendigo is
36.
good. 36 is good.
Yeah.
So go
Cool.
check those guys out.
Yeah.
Can you title this podcast "Talking About the Music Scene"?
Yes.
You probably shouldn't, because then people will be like, "We're 20 minutes in and they haven't talked about music in what?"
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I
What's
think-
wrong with the music scene?
I will.
in
I will.
Calgary?
I will. I will do. I'm totally gonna do that.
All right,
But
guys.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really good to
thank
have
you,
you on.
Kyle.
Thanks, guys.
Please subscribe to everyone here.
Yes.
They'll
Except
be linked
me,
in the
unsubscribe.
description.
If you search for Media Lab YYC, you'll find the channel that I'm continuing to try and grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be sure to check them out for sure.
What's the channel you're going to? What's it even called?
Well, I would suggest just checking out Matt Mort. Just search my
Mm.
name, MATTMORT. And go to my YouTube channel because I'm probably the YouTube channel I'm going to be starting or joining in Vancouver. We're going to change the name of it. So right now it's
okay.
Brad Lancaster, but it's going to be something that's
Yeah.
like communities.
You know what that's gonna mean? You're gonna get those people who post on like Reddit. It's like, I never subscribed to this channel. Why are they posting videos into my feed now?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's people who've changed the name of a YouTube channel, so they're
Yeah.
posting different things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
Fred or Ray William Johnson.
There you go.
All right,
Perfect.
guys.
All right.
All right.
Thank
well,
you.
Super cool.
Thank you, fine viewers, and subscribe.